Hey, Paul Tren here with Row64, Director of Product, and today I'm going to show Row64 and how you can make custom recipes to accelerate your team's Python capabilities. So I got asked this a lot of times. Why would I want to work with Row64? I have all these solutions already that I'm currently working with. My team has Python users. We just code straight into Python. But one of the big things that we notice is there's always people working with data that are more technical than others, right? So Row64 is great because we have something called the recipe universe, and inside the recipe universe, you can literally share your Python skills with other people. So if you ever have iteration issues where a stakeholder that you're reporting to is saying, "Oh, can you just make this minor change?" And oftentimes they're not really minor, like sometimes they don't even know what's inside the code. So recipes are a great way for you to build workflows that then can be passed on to other people, and they can be passed on with like super simple spreadsheet style syntax. So as you can see here, what I did was I opened up Row64, I closed out the template screen, and I'm immediately greeted by the data frame. If you click on recipes, you can actually see our current library of over 300 recipes, but these recipes are all expressed as some sort of spreadsheet style syntax. So it's really easy to use. So let's say, for example, I want to do some ETL type workflows, and I want to pass those on to other people. You see the transform button here, and click on that, and you can quickly see, just as an example, let's say we want to do group and sum, right? I'm going to click on that and click example, and you're immediately given a sample data set as well as something called group sum, right? And I'm going to go ahead and click on both here so you can see the Python. But what we've been asked for is, how do I make these on the left here, this syntax for my own team? And can it be done? And the answer is yes. So the way you would do that is simply clicking on this little cog right here on the top right. And you do have to have the pro version of Row64, both users. But what you do is you go ahead and click on this, and you go into the recipe manager. And from here, you can hit scan debug on. If you click on scan debug on, you will notice one major thing that will change. Now when you hover over these recipes on the right hand side, you're going to see two additional green options, sometimes three. You see that? These are basically, I guess, text files that house and JSON files that house how these recipes work. So if I were to go ahead and show you group sum, and I click on a recipe here, you will see here kind of the JSON file that's associated with this and how we're going about this. So we're naming something. It sits inside the group and sum numbers, right? That's the name of this. So you can see right here. There's a name right there on the right? And you can leave a comment here for any sort of person that might be using this to explain how something works. We're going to place it inside the category of group and collapse rows right here, right? The following libraries that we're dependent upon. So you'll see here we're going to be using pandas, right? And we're not going to use any sort of new libraries or any sort of pip install. So standard Row64 libraries are already involved, so we don't have to do anything. I'll get you a list here really quickly of the libraries that are installed right out the box, so you don't have to go looking for them. And the way you would do that is up here again, but we'll jump to that in a moment. And then you have the tooltips. This formula is what you created over here. You see the formula, right? When you first run the formula, you hit insert on this side, the syntax. What syntax goes over here on the left? And then, if you have a sample CSV file, for example, you can load it here. And, the various arguments that you'd be passing in, right? Super simple. So that's a .recipe file that I opened up in Notepad, but you can actually flip it right into like PyCharm or some sort of other text editor. We do recommend like Sublime, for example, so you could quickly see all kinds of great stuff. So let's say that you want to go into the definitions now. So if you click on def here, you will see this, the Python that's being up on top. See that? Exactly the same. So you can kind of see how to create these recipes. It's just really, really easy. Where are these recipes stored? So once you have that, what you would do is you would go to your documents folder, right? Right here. Go to the row 64, and then from here you will have recipes, right? And it's sitting inside one of these. So for example, these are, again, these are inside the transform. So you'll see a transform folder here. And you will see, obviously, if I click on transform, you get these little menus. And you can see quickly right here, look, it's under group and sum. Group sum, right there. So once you have that, you go ahead and click on scan debug and close and reopen row 64, and it will immediately now be available in your instance of row 64. You just need to package up those .recipe files and the JSON file and send it to your teammate to place into their documents folder for sharing. I hope you found that useful. Let me jump in now to show you, if you go in the Python terminal, click on this cog button here again. If you go on Python terminal, I think it's pip freeze. Yep. If you type pip freeze, you can see all the standard Python libraries that come installed into row 64 right at the get-go. It's pretty powerful, quick way to just kind of see what we've got going on. Hope you found that helpful. Talk soon.